Zbcn and Stellar are teaming up and they will change digital payments forever, and you want to stick around to the end. But anyway, no BS, let's get right into it. So Stellar and Zbcn, Stellar Network already provides banks and remittances providers around the world, and Zebec's real-time stablecoin payroll, I think they will fit together into their ecosystem. But I haven't really been looking into Stellar that much. I used to hold it back in 2020. It was called the sister of XRP. And if you look at the price action of Stellar, it kind of mirrors what XRP is doing. So I've talked on this channel that there is like a stablecoin narrative. All the big banks, institutions are talking about issuing their own bank stablecoin post Genius Act. And on Stellar Network, they're working with a lot of big institutions and they're focusing on RWA tokenized assets. Zebec is a US based company. So is Stellar Network. And they talk about how the US has changed over time because, you know, the previous administration, the Biden administration, was very anti-crypto. Now we've got a pro-crypto administration. Now things are changing. The key thing about this interview was that both of them are working with Allunity. Okay, Zebec announced that they are partnering with Allunity, backed by Deutsche Bank, integrating the EURAU Mica compliance backed stablecoin into their card suite and paying workers in a euro stablecoin pegged to the euro. And then, as you can tell, USDC is their main default stablecoin. So now they've got a US backed stablecoin that's pegged to the dollar, and now they have a euro Mica compliant stablecoin backed by the euro. But anyway, take a look at this clip of Stellar and Zebec partnership together and how they are going to expand. Take a look at this.
Well, I'm joined today by Boris Reznikov from the Stellar Foundation. Welcome, Boris. We're here at Sibos.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to be here. Good to see you.
I know you had a long journey in, so good to have you here. What are your first impressions of the conference this year?
Well, everybody's talking about blockchain and stablecoins. I left my house in San Francisco. On the way to the airport, I saw not one, but two billboards about stablecoins.
Oh, that's great. Here in Frankfurt, right?
No, in San Francisco.
Both sides. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've seen a few of them here too.
Yeah. The trip started with blockchain everywhere, and that's how it's going. And obviously all the big companies are here, the small companies are here, and everybody's talking about stablecoins. The big difference this year is that...
Well, Stellar, of course, has been in the game for a very long time in terms of crypto payments.
Yeah.
How have you seen institutions change recently in how they engage with you?
Well, look, I mean, these days the question isn't should we do something with crypto or stablecoins? It's how do we do it and what do we do? So we have a lot of institutions that are issuing stablecoins on Stellar, that are tokenizing real-world assets on Stellar. We're quite a leader in that space. And so we're here looking to continue that momentum and get more high-quality assets tokenized on the network.
That's great. And obviously you guys are based in the US. How would you see, the difference between the European market for stablecoin payments versus the US market?
A lot has changed in the US in the past year. And, I think the US is paving the way in terms of what can be done in blockchain. And we see a lot of activity in both areas, honestly.
Likewise, I mean, we're also based in the US. We've expanded to Europe now through our partnership with Allunity. I know Stellar is working with them as well, which is really exciting. And we're really thinking about the next steps to grow here in Europe for both of us. So a lot of exciting news to come between Zebec and Stellar, I guess, over the next couple of weeks. I mean, we've been working together now for years, but we're about to take this partnership to the next level, which we're very excited about.
Well, we appreciate the partnership.
Absolutely, yeah.
Zebec partnered with Allunity. Remember, Allunity is a stablecoin issuer of EURAU backed by Deutsche Bank, and it's Mica compliant. And they talk about in the sibos event, which they were both at, the main topic was stablecoin payment and how payments can revolutionize the traditional world of banking and solve cross-border remittances as well. Stellar Network focuses on that. Ripple and XRP solve that problem. Zebec focuses on stablecoin payments. So the reason why they went for Allunity is because they are neutral. He talks about how financial institutions and banks want to issue their own backed bank stablecoins and they want a bit of the market share. But in theory, they are all competitors. Okay, they are all competitors. They picked Allunity because they can be neutral. It's kind of like Zebec with payroll, right? They are not changing the payroll system. They are just upgrading. Okay, they are just an infrastructure layer. Payroll companies and banks can just plug in to their infrastructure, their network layer that they've already made for years. Okay, they're not changing anything. They're just upgrading their payments, but in stablecoins, since everything is going digital. But anyway, take a look at this clip.
So Alex, how do you see stablecoins this year at Sibos, and why is everyone talking about payments in crypto?
I think this, at least from a conceptual standpoint, this is the big breakthrough year because all of the big corporations, including Swift now, ultimately since yesterday, is jumping on to efficiency potential from stablecoins. So it's not a question at all if it happens, it's just when it happens and to what magnitude it's actually to happen.
Well, we've seen a lot from everyone from banks to financial institutions to governments talking about stablecoins. Why is Allunity so well positioned to serve these groups?
Because we're neutral. Ultimately, you have to think about it. Now, every bank can issue their own stablecoin, which theoretically is nice. But if you think about the big use case, which is cross-border payments, and multitude of corporates are involved in this payment cycle, and every corporate has a different house bank, and every house bank has a different stablecoin, then you need a huge OTC market for the exchanging of these stablecoins. And ultimately, the corporates just want to pay. They just want to care with all this, which is technically. So it's natural that you see fragmentation first, because it's a hot topic. Everybody wants to get into that topic and grab some of the market share. But ultimately, you just want to pay. And I think, yes, in theory, all financial institutions should come together, but essentially they are all competitors. So for us being neutral, available to everybody, I think that's a unique position.
And that kind of separates Zebec from the rest of the competition. I don't know any crypto firm that's doing payroll. It's very, very niche. And that's why I really like Zebec. If you're new to this channel, most of my videos are very educational and there's a lot of content. Okay, so if you're a new person, check out all my other videos that talk about stablecoins and Zebec. But anyway, in this next clip, I've been talking about how the Genius Act is a huge benefit for Zebec, because the Genius Act is basically, it's a new federal law that gives the banks and institutions the confidence to issue their own bank-backed stablecoins. Okay, so like for example, USDC is fully regulated. It's probably the most regulated stablecoin, and it's US based. It fits all their criteria, and it just means that the stablecoin needs to be pegged 1-to-1 with the dollar. USDC is pegged to the dollar, and it's backed by US reserve treasuries. Basically, you know, everything kind of changed when that happened, because, you know, like I said, we've had past administration that was anti-crypto, but now the Trump administration is very pro-crypto, and Zebec's a US-based company, and Allunity is Europe-based. But the benefit of the Genius Act is that now US institutions can step in. That is good, because that's like a first mover advantage. So, you know, once blockchain technology is moving on chain, like banks moving on chain, you know, that can inspire other nations to step in as well, because, you know, the US is being the first movers, so they're going to get that market share first. And then if Europe sees that the US is doing well, they want that market share as well. So Genius Act can kind of inspire, you know, other nations to go on chain. Also, Zebec has been expanding in the UK. You know, they're trying to get FCA approval, and they're trying to be ISO 222. But the limit is not just US. They are trying to expand worldwide. Anyway, take a look at this.
And it's interesting to see, you know, given that you're an EU-based company and an EU stablecoin, we are, of course, a US company. How do you see the differences in stablecoin adoption between the two markets, and how do you see that changing?
I think that naturally Genius Act was doing a lot. It was pushing a lot, mainly because it puts the whole stablecoin and crypto out of this, let's say, shadow area from the US of the last, let's say, couple of years. I mean, the big benefit, as I said, is for global corporations. And global corporations, they don't stop at the US border or European border or wherever. Yeah, so you need a service that spans cross-border. And I think the push from Genius Act pushed also Europe to accept more stablecoins, and let's say slightly going away from CBDCs only. Same for China. And offerings like Zebec, they come over, and they're actually, for global corporations, they're a perfect answer to have a global workforce.
The US dollar is the world's reserve currency. The euro is the second, maybe third world's reserve currency. So they've got a huge market share as well. So like I said, Zebec's not just limited to USDC payments. Okay, so now they have a euro-backed stablecoin that's Mica compliant. And they talk about in this next clip that they are close to finishing their Mica compliance. I don't know if it's already done, but I'm pretty sure it's coming anytime soon, guys. I know everyone keeps saying Mica compliance compliance, where is it? It's coming, guys, it's coming. What is it now, the 8th in the time of this recording? We've not got long left, okay? But Allunity is like the first step. That, you know, once they are Mica compliant, they have a lot bigger institutions in play to expand in Europe. Anyway, take a look at this.
But global trade is not stopping at borders. So you need to be able to process all relevant fiat currencies globally. And euro is this second or third, depending on how you count, largest reserve currency. And for a lot of trade finance transactions, it's the second largest. So you need to be able to process US dollar, but also euro transactions. And Stripe is very well positioned to offer services in that regard.
And it's very applicable in the payroll space as well, as we serve many US institutions right now. And many of them have actually asked us about European payments, which we've not been able to support to this date until, of course, we complete our Mica registration, which we're in process of finishing very soon, and finding a euro regulated stablecoin as well to work with. So we're very excited to now be able to expand salary payments from the US into Europe and also work directly with European institutions that may want to pay people in global payments outside of Europe as well.
That's a fantastic step because it is very, let's say, easy for corporates to get into stablecoin usage. They can do it for a limited number of employees to start with. A lot of global corporations have also labor force and maybe in high inflation rate countries or where there's differences, how the monetary treatment is. And so using stablecoins for payments is a perfect means to get into that market, is a perfect means to get into stablecoins at all. With this combination that the two of us offer, we can offer a fully fledged solution. And with your bridge into the US, again, for global corporations, if you really want to, let's say, embrace that, you have to be able to process it in the whole organization. And again, that doesn't stop at the border.
I will be a lot more active later on in future videos, guys. Please be patient. You know, these videos do take a long time, 9 to 10 hours at the very least. And I was pushing really hard for that 1,000 subs. But anyway, that was just the start of the journey. I will keep pushing for you guys. Anyway, if you're not in the best crypto community on this planet, please join. Over 200 members. Let's get close to 300. And I'll see you guys in the next one.